Are you tired of overpriced EDC knives that you regret buying? Because man, I know I am. So today I'll show you 10 of the best knife deals on Amazon for around $40. All right, let's kick things off with number 10. I got from CRKT. This is the Pilar 3. It's got a 2.97 inch 8CR 13 MOV blade. As a lefty, this is one of the few frame locks with a thumb hole deployment that, I don't have to just go ahead and slow roll open. I can actually get, like a good flick every single time. I know the blade steel isn't anything to write home about, but I really like the size, the action, how it feels in hand, how it cuts, and that frame lock. Number 9, the Buck Red Point. It's a 2.75 inch hollow ground drop point blade with a combo edge in 420 HC steel. It has nylon handle scales with a rubber overmold, an integrated bottle opener, and it's got a spring operated slide lock. The way the manual deployment works is that you hold down the lock with one finger, and then using what they call their safe spin technology, you just go ahead and flick her open. It's clearly made for a right-hander, but as you can see, I'm a lefty, and hey, I have no problems opening the blade. Now, it does have a deep carry pocket clip. Unfortunately, it's only tipped down. But what you could do is, you could put on a carabiner clip here, and then go ahead and attach it to a backpack or keychain. And because of that lock, that blade is never going to open on you accidentally. Number 8 is from CJRB. It's the Mika. It has a 2.36 inch drop point blade in AR RPM 9 steel. It's similar in size to the Spyderco Dragonfly, so I can get a full 4-finger grip using the forward choil. Otherwise, you're just looking at a 3-finger grip. Typically, button locks, they have that secondary value of being, fun to fidget. But this is a little too small, for me to flick open without totally throwing this thing across the room. I mean, those aluminum scales, they're kind of slick. But, of course, you could just use the button to both open and close it. Number 7, the Kooby Titius. It's a 3.39 inch blade in D2 steel. This is not just a great $40 knife. Out of all the Kooby knives available, this is definitely in my top 3. It has 2 different opening options with an easy access thumb hole that you can use a couple different ways. I absolutely love the look of that broad drop point blade, and it cuts well, especially since, it's not overly thick. I sure wouldn't mind that forward choil. Maybe just being a hair wider because, my medium-sized finger just barely fits. Number 6 is the Monaca Assault Team number 1. It has a 3.4 inch drop point in a 14C 28N steel. This is a compelling design for a few reasons. It has features that are just unheard of, for a knife in this price range. Sandvik steel is a great value for the money with the blade that has a compound grind, which just means that, you get the benefits of both a thinner, hollow ground edge for slicing and a flat grind that really helps increase that tip strength. At this price, it's hard to believe they were also able to include, titanium scales and a frame lock that has both a hardened steel insert and over travel stop. And speaking of that handle, we've definitely seen this same shape somewhere before. Yep, it's on the Demco AD 20.5. Number 5, how about the Suncut Actium? It's a 3.46 inch blade in D2 steel. This liner lock has almost all the features, that I look for when shopping for a new knife. Multiple opening options, check. We got thumb studs and a flipper. Forward finger choil, check. It's full size, so even if you got them larger sausage fingers, you'll have no problems choking up. The hollow ground blade is, nice and thin behind the edge, so even after multiple sharpenings of, removing metal, you're still going to have a good working edge to cut with. Number 4 is going to be from QSP. This is the Canary. It's a 2.84 inch drop point in a 14C 28N steel. I like this knife a lot more than I expected because there's not much to it. It's a very basic design. I mean, you're looking at, it's a slightly smaller liner lock knife with G10 scales. You can see thumb stud deployment and a 2-position pocket clip. Other than the blade steel, which is an incredible value in this price range, there's 3 things that really make this knife stand out. The recessed clip is a cleaner look. I mean, it's not just sitting on top of the scales. The handle is only 3.74 inches long. That's short, yet I can still get a full 4-finger grip. The action is amazing. And all I did, man, look at that. All I did was put just like a half a drop of oil on the detent ball. And man, did that make a world of difference. Number 3 is from Steel Will. It's the MiniCutjack. It's a 3-inch drop point blade in D2 steel. This is one of the few knife designs that almost strikes like a perfect balance between function and form. The only other knife I can think of that feels as good as this, if not better in hand, the Spyderco Manix 2. Other than the shallow carry pocket clip, the only compromise is the amount of billboarding on the blade and the fact that they used raised lettering, which snags the polishing cloth when I try to wipe it off. Number 2, the Civ Praxis with its 3.75-inch drop point blade in 9CR18 MOV steel. You have no idea how close this knife came to being number 1. I think for me, the deciding factors were, well, the materials used and the type of lock. Not that I'm turning up my nose at a G10 liner lock with 9CR blade steel. I mean, this knife will always have a spot in my collection. This was one of the first 3 knives released when the Civ brand launched. So, the fact that this is still relevant today after all these years is really impressive. But, for just a few dollars more, you can do a little better. Hey, and don't forget about that bonus knife coming up after this. At number 1 is going to be from Sencut. It's the Serene. It's a 3.48-inch drop point in D2 steel. For the money, you get a steel with good edge retention, multiple opening options, durable aluminum scales, a strong, reliable button lock, and a 2-position deep carry pocket clip. On top of all that, I mean, it has excellent action. I mean, once you pick this knife up, it is really tough to set it back down. The only thing that could possibly make this better is, well, color combinations. I mean, I would absolutely kill for a version with a gray handle and black blade, or heck, even a satin blade on black scales. And finally, the bonus knife. It is the now discontinued Civvoltaic. It's a 3.48-inch drop point in 14C 28N steel. I gotta admit, I'm kind of bummed to see this one go. I absolutely love everything about it. The blade shape, the action, the 2 opening options, and the stainless steel frame lock with inlays. And yes, that choil is large enough for a finger. So look at it this way. When this was first released, it cost almost double the price it is now. If you're looking for some great budget knives that cost even less, hey, check out this next video up on the screen where I rank 20 of the best knives for $20. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more knife reviews that get right to the point.